guys, what's up? It's Kara. No time to waste. We're just jumping right in. No introduction.
Psych.
It's like 1 p.m. I got up out of bed literally an hour ago, so we're doing this shit impromptu. We're just gonna talk about stuff. We're just gonna get into it. So, I got out of bed at like 12:23 p.m. this afternoon. And I went into the bathroom, had myself a early morning cry, as you do, as a normal person does. And I had a lot of realizations in that bathroom during that cry. I realized a good few things I was holding dear and close to my chest, to my heart. You know what I'm saying? But basically, I was crying in the bathroom this morning. I was thinking about the fact that relationships are hard and love is scary. And I don't just mean romantic ones or platonic ones. I mean all kinds of relationships. It's letting people in and being real and authentic with them is tough shit. It's hard as fuck. And I don't think you know it until you know it. Like, you don't really know how hard it's going to be until you're in one, or like until you get there. You know what I mean? And I'm single as fuck, you know? I was gonna say I'm single as a Pringle, but my sister made fun of me last week for saying that, even though people use that phrase all the fucking time. I mean, I already look like I'm an 80-year-old woman. Might as well just say shit that sounds corny as fuck. But yeah, I'm single as a fucking Pringle. I watched a Cody Co video a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about how like Pringles technically aren't even single. They come in a fucking 30-layer stack. So I don't know. I'm thinking of stuff. Anyway, but like I'm single. So like what would I know about romantic relationships? The last romantic relationship, if we have to count one, was like almost 4 years ago. Thank God. God really saved me from that one. No, but it was a while ago. So like I don't think I'm qualified to speak on the matter, but let's just say like I know. Let's just say I understand. Be right back. Yeah. I keep beating around the bush to like say what I want to say because I know thinking about what I want to say is gonna be a little challenging. Like my fucking literally as I was saying, oh, I forgot about that. Literally as I was saying that, my fucking temple started hurting, like right above my right eye. So that's cool. Love that. Or it could be because of the coffee. I shouldn't underestimate that. I wonder how those side effects are gonna play out, but I made it. Tastes good. I'm drinking it. Yet again, we talking about coffee. Let's get to the fucking point. Today, I woke up, went in the bathroom, I'm just doing my self-care, skincare routine. I start crying, before I start brushing my teeth. I was like, this is cool. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I was like, fuck yeah. Like, sometimes you just need to let that shit out, It comes at the most random times, but like it's better that way because you just need to let that shit happen. Live and let live. You know what I'm saying? So I was crying. I was like, thank God. Like whatever emotionally was like stuck here, like some of it was unraveling. You know what I'm saying? And that happens to me a lot where like I can physically feel the tension, specifically in my chest, like in my heart region, that like something emotionally is not correct. That was going on for a while. Today I went in the bathroom, I cried it out, it felt a little better. I was like, thank God it's related to this. I can finally get through it a little bit. And then I realized what I was crying about was the fact that like emotional intimacy is too fucking hard. It is excuse me, confirmation. What can we fucking say? Coffee and hot milk slaps. I don't even know why we make hot water is great, but it shouldn't be in everything. Anyway, I'm also, this is also regular milk. All the baddies who are like, oat milk, soy milk, they're gonna hate me for this. I can't stand the taste. Like, I think milk in general is a weird concept, right? We can agree on that. But drinking oat milk and soy milk, it's just a personal preference. It's not mine. I'm a weirdo. I like regular fucking homosaturated, homogeneous. I don't know what are the terms. I'm trying to think of what's on the milk labels. All that preservative shit. I don't know. All that hormone shit in the cows and the cows' glands and their little noggins. What do they call those? Oh my god, I don't even what do they call those? Anyway, me talking about milk and coffee. God damn, I really can't stay on one topic. Okay, no, yeah, emotional intimacy is hard. And I realized that it's been a while since I tried to do something like that. Since I attempted something like that, and you know, I was just like, I don't know. I was just thinking about scenarios where I could fall into that again and have to be emotionally intimate and emotionally vulnerable with somebody, and I was like, wow, like this is 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 quite a lot, you know. I think I'm used to presenting myself in this space of like having to just be perfect. And I don't mean perfect as in the way like there's no flaws. I mean perfect even as in like managing my flaws so well that it doesn't inconvenience anybody. And I realize when you're truly being emotionally intimate with someone that it's not something you can always control. There are going to be times where I am going to want to present myself as this composed, I have my shit all together kind of person. And even if I have flaws or I have little little idiosyncrasies that kind of don't add up, I'm going to try to present that in a way that's not like, oh, like, you know, this is me, but I'm not trying to bother you. Like, I hope this doesn't offend you. I hope this doesn't, you know, get on your nerves. But like, even doing that, I feel like is like a bit much, you know. I'm pretty there's I know there's a term for this in psychology. I can't happen to remember it at the moment, but it's like I just didn't realize, you know, sometimes you just forget. Like even as aware as I am about myself and about my feelings and about all the shit I've been through, you know, I don't know everything about myself. I probably never will. I'm a fucking mystery even to myself. But like sometimes I forget that I kind of micromanage details about myself to be more conforming to other people's ideals and standards, because I feel like I'm someone who's already emotional, and that being emotional and intimate and vulnerable with me and me being that with, you know, the other party involved is going to be a lot. So I try to manage that in advance so that like when we go through like the hard stuff, it's not that bad, because, you know, I'm trying to like manage my shit and I'm not trying to, you know, be overly emotional. But it's not something I can do like all the time, you know. It's not, and it's not realistic to want to do that all the time. And in a certain sense, it's me not fully allowing myself to be human. I am kind of predicting my own movements and my own thoughts and tracking my own feelings to the point where if something happens and if there is an inconvenience, that I tone myself down so that I'm more palatable to the people I'm around, so that it doesn't feel like I can't be emotionally intimate with them at all. And I don't know, I feel like that's tough. I feel like I shouldn't have to be in a position where I feel like that, and I shouldn't have to feel like that in general, I guess. I understand why, you know, life has been hard. I grew up in a way where I felt like my emotional issues and inconsistencies were something that needed to be dealt with, and that I couldn't present myself as anything less than perfect, because life was always so hard for the people around me that me being emotional or less than was just more work to be put on someone else's plate. Yeah, I didn't like feeling like I was something that needed to be taken care of by someone else. So I would do that first to myself to, mitigate that response and like deal with all the shit that came with that. And it just, became the learned response. It became a habit that I wasn't fully aware that I was like, always engaging in, because it just became second nature. It was just something that I did instinctually, and I didn't think twice about it. And so when I was crying in the bathroom, I was like, damn, like, it's kind of hard to have a real relationship with someone or to really trust someone, to open up with them, when I constantly feel like I have to plan ahead for the times where I'm going to get it wrong and I'm going to feel like I'm having a bad day. It's tough to kind of reconcile with that fact a little bit, because it's like, I don't want to do that. Not even for the other person in whatever relationship I'm a part of, but for myself more specifically and more importantly, because I don't think it's fair to myself. I am not a perfect person. Even if I like to think that I am getting close to that, or I'm doing better, or I'm getting my life together more, and I'm in a space where I feel more put together, that seems or resembles perfect to me. Um but I don't like having to feel like I have to stick to that. And I do feel that way a lot. That like once I have identified myself with one trait or one habit, I have to stick to that. Otherwise my personality and my character comes into question, and then it's like, oh well, who are you if you're not this thing, and you're not this identity, and you're not this person? And then I, in turn question myself. I'm like, fuck, are they right? Like, am I wrong about myself? Do I not know who I am? When I constantly push back with that idea, because I don't like that ideology. I am not just one thing. I am not one person. I can't be stuck and confined in just like one little habit all the time. It doesn't feel true to who I am, and I don't feel like humans should be subjected to that. I think we are more than just habits and routines and personality traits. I think we are an encompassing group of all these things that intersect together. I still feel like I have to adhere to the status quo. I thought that was shit that was just in fucking High School Musical. And I think about that every fucking time I think of the word status quo. Just the song immediately plays in my head. Stick to the status quo. Like, And I was like, okay, cool. That's the movie. And then I was like, okay, I felt that way in high school, because essentially that's what high school is. Trying to stick to the status quo, and then learning that that is inherently what it's for, at least how it exists right now, and at least in the American public school system. But I can't say that for necessarily any other country or educational system outside of the US, because I didn't grow up that way and I didn't go to those schools. But from my experience, that's essentially what high school is for: staying within your fucking lane and being one person and sticking to one thing, and adhering to the status quo. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm not in high school anymore. Finally sailed that fucking ship. We have left the station with that one. But like, I felt bad. I was like, damn, do I still kind of feel like that? Like, have I not let go of this whole am I in high school still thing, or do I want to go back, or like, you know what I mean? Because for a long time, and this would have been apparent if I'd ever posted any of my other videos, but I don't know, I want to say right after I graduated high school, or not even, maybe 2019. Maybe 2019 to like early 2022? Maybe? Late 2022? It's a blur, girl. It's a blur. But for at least 3 or 4 years there, I was struggling to let go of high school, because everything was moving so fast and I didn't feel like an adult. And I feel like that's another topic, because that's something I'd like to get into, girl. I don't think we rush these kids out to school, bro. That's it's anyway. But me personally, right, I was like, I don't feel like I belong anywhere outside of high school. I don't think I've had enough time to process all this shit that's going on. And that's where I felt like I was like turning 19, 20 years old, and I was like, no, I still feel like I'm 17. And it wasn't recently till I made a huge jump in my personal transformation and my healing journey where I was like, damn, you know what? Time to let all that shit go. Let all that shit fly, dog. Like, we don't need to be part of that anymore. But then when I had the cry this morning, I was like, damn, am I still somehow subconsciously still trapped in high school somehow? And I don't think that is. I mean, it's possible, you know? You can't rule everything out for sure. I mean, you can, but it depends. That's a different topic. But like, I don't think that's what it's about. I think just for a moment there, I realized that I felt confined to that. Excuse me. Confirmation. I felt confined to that again because of how restrictive high school felt for me, especially. And I was worried that was still taking that part with me into the future when that was something I really wanted to let go of. But no, like realizing that, as I said, it's not about high school. It's about that there's a status quo in society. And it took me a moment because I was like, damn, girl, like, isn't that kind of obvious? But like, again, like, it wasn't something I fully realized, or like I was remembering it again, allowing it to like truly integrate into my knowledge and understanding of my world and how I exist. Because like, you know, there are certain things that like the world expects from you and wants you to do and wants you to be. And as much as I, with my rebellious nature, keep trying to push against that, you know, you can't like totally be apart from the status quo. There are times where you're going to do things that conform to it. That's just kind of how it works. But like, I realize that's not something I want to do, you know? There are times where I'm going to be like, yeah, you know what, fuck it. I'm like everybody else. Maybe I do end up with God, I don't even want to say it. We're not going to put that in the universe. I'm working my own fucking weekdays, my own hours. That's what I'm doing. I'm not even trying to be my own boss type shit and run a company. No, I'm talking about like, I am my own man. I am my own man. Sorry. No, what was I saying? No, but I was conforming to the status quo. And I was like, this is fucking making me mad. Like, subconsciously, that was something that was digging at me and my emotional, because I was like, this isn't who I want to be. This is not how I want to feel. And I realized that there was an inner conflict between what I wanted for myself and what I feel like the world wants from me. And that's how it tied into the whole emotional intimacy thing, because it's like, I think the understanding that I have from like emotional or romantic relationships or making connections with people in the real world is that you have to be put together all of the time. Or that like somehow when other people are a mess or they're not going through the greatest time of their lives and, you know, they need help, that like it's okay for them because, you know, they have people who love them and forgive them and understand who they are. But for me, I've never felt like that's the case. And I always felt like me going through shit and not being at 100 all the time was like, I don't know, a big problem. And so when I'm at my lows and I feel like I need help or like shit's going hard. It's going hard. No, shit's going down for me. Like I feel like I become less lovable in that sense. And I fear that feeling of people seeing all the cracks that are contained within me and they're like, oh, like, damn, look at this bitch. Like she's about to fall apart. Like, let's leave that bitch in the dust. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't feel good in that way. And I always feel like I'm trying to prevent that feeling of people seeing me as weak or helpless or flawed, imperfect, because it's kind of like opening the door for them to hate on me, shit on me, make my life harder. And thinking about trying to be real and authentic because that's who I want to be. I feel like I wasn't that person for a really long time, and I don't blame myself. It was a hard life and a hard road, and I really tried my best despite all that. So I really am grateful to that version of me who pushed through all that shit and got me here, because goddamn, life looked a lot different for me. But I still worry about that sometimes, you know, that I feel good now and I can handle myself, or like I can take care of myself and I don't feel bad even if I have like bad emotional days. But to show that to other people and to build emotional intimacy or build an emotional connection with them feels hard, because I have to let them see what it's really like for me when I'm in that state, and not being able to change that or prevent that or work around that is an uncomfortable feeling. I think one of the, I want to say tenets, one of the, it's not like a fear. I don't know if it's a fear. Maybe it is, but I wouldn't classify it as part of my top five. That's something I've been thinking about in the last couple of weeks too. It's like, what are my top 5 fears? What are my top 10 fears? You know, what are my list of fears? I feel like I have a good few of them down. I don't know where I'd order them in rank necessarily, because I feel like I have to think about everything that I'm truly afraid of, and then I can like rank it in order from 1 to 10 or 1 to 15 or how many. But I can acknowledge that like being observed and being truly seen for who I am is a fear of mine, because I feel like my experience with that in the past has not been well, and that people kind of perceive me in whatever light they want to, and that me being me somehow isn't truly translated into that somehow people warp and twist and contort my character into just who they want it to be, whatever mold they want it to fit into, and somehow that somehow confines me again to the status quo, because it's like I can't escape the limitations that other people kind of have for me. And as someone who cares a lot about what other people think of me, at times I've been getting better, but it's kind of hard to feel like I can truly break free and be real and be authentic when my fear of doing that and not being seen is real, and it's strong, and it feels like exactly the thing that I'm trying to escape that I somehow can't. It's like, it feels like a fucking paradox, to be honest. It's hard for me to feel emotionally real with people. I present myself as I am, cracks and flaws and broken pieces visible, and it's like somehow people might still misunderstand me or not see me correctly in some way. There I am, sitting right smack dab in the middle of the status quo, and I can't seem to not fucking be who people want me to conform into. All these thoughts like running through my head as I'm rummaging through idea and concept through concept. But like, it's kind of because I was always predisposed to the idea that everything has to be conflict. And so when I think of these things and I think of these scenarios and situations where I could possibly have to be real and emotionally intimate with someone, it's because I'm seeing it as conflict. I'm seeing it as something that has to be tense and hard and stressful. And I think I've always kind of seen having relationships as stressful and as conflict, and that it contorts my own view because I'm not seeing it as what I really want to see it as, connection. And that maybe just reframing that idea, reworking it into a more positive, optimistic mindset might just be the first step into feeling like I can be emotionally intimate with someone else and emotionally vulnerable and open, not only with my personal relationships, but like with you guys on here, because uploading has been hard. It's been tough because I feel conflicted about being honest and speaking my truth and being vulnerable with you guys, because I feel like it's going to be met with tension and friction, and that it's going to be inherently hard, when I've been saying from the beginning that I want this to be something that I connect to others with, that I am able to share myself with. Even just like that little back and forth of wordplay, like inherently having my intention be to connect, but me still thinking and believing and feeling like it's conflict is part of the problem, you know? And so like just realizing that and being able to, I guess, move forward with that knowledge that like when I say connect, I really genuinely want it to be connect. I don't want to feel like it's going to be a place of conflict every single time. I can't avoid conflict. I think that just happens. in life as much as everything else does and happens. Um, but like I don't really want to feel like every time I go into something new, or I challenge myself to feel a different way or experience something new, that like it inherently has to feel conflicting. Even for those of you who are like me and you don't really fuck with the status quo and you're not trying to be told who you are and who you aren't, and you don't want to stay stagnant in this static view of yourself, that sometimes we get caught in the quo anyway, you know? Connection does not equal conflict, and conflict does not equal connection. You know, you can't even build it, not even like reversing it, you know? Like if you think somehow reaching conflict will be your means of connecting to other people, you know? Because it's possible. Sometimes you need that. I think that's how we kind of grow when we talk about having discussions with other people, especially about topics that are hard to talk about, for you or in general, you know? Um, that sometimes you have to get through the conflict to better understand and get to know the other person better, and see where they're coming from. But you don't always have to do it from a place of conflict, you know? Even if that's what you're used to, even if that's what feels um, like you should be doing, it doesn't have to start from a angry, hateful, tense place. I think connection is just about flowing and allowing and letting happen, and that looks different for everybody depending on the situation and the circumstance. The other day, I think I watched a YouTube video. Kurzagat, in a nutshell, that one. I don't know how controversial they still are. I know they were involved in some in the past, but I don't know. I kind of like their videos. I like the animations of them a lot, so I watch them from time to time. And so I saw one a couple of weeks ago, and I think I saw another YouTube video. I want to say, I forget which YouTuber it was that I saw it on, but basically the idea was that like how engagement is or like like on social media, when you're using a social media platform, that like the corporations that are funding that value your attention as currency, and how they need to keep you engaged in order to, you know, keep fueling their industry basically. And so the number one way that works is by pissing people off, and that's why they do and post and like have the algorithm basically train it, or show you things that like piss you off, um so that you stay on the app longer and you can fight with random fucking people online and keep using their service. You know, obviously everybody gets pissed. So if you've gotten into a fucking Twitter fight with somebody over some stupid shit, don't let it get to you. Sometimes it happens, you know. Hopefully it was a valid fight. We're all human. We're all trying our best. What I was thinking about was that, you know, I think sometimes people kind of jump to anger. I feel like in a way, as stigmatized as it is, because I don't think a lot of people have ever been taught how to control their anger or how to validly express their anger or do it in a vivid way that doesn't involve being violent and hurtful towards other people. I think a lot of times anger goes unchecked. It's an emotion that kind of stews and stews, and I don't know, I just feel like people kind of bash anger a little too much. I think it's valid, like any other emotion. It has a time and a place, but what time or what place it should or shouldn't occur is something only that person who's experiencing that emotion can understand. And a lot of people haven't been allotted the time to understand when they'd like to feel angry or what they'd like to feel angry about and why not. Um, so I feel like in a way, you know, we kind of jump to that because we want the right to feel angry about things. We want the right to feel conflicted or to cause conflict. But essentially, like, you know, we kind of want to talk to other people. We go on social media because we want to connect with other people. For so many of us, we use those platforms and those devices because we are lonely. We want to use what was made for us to connect to others too, but we can't because we don't know how. We've been isolated from one another. We've been disconnected, so we have forgotten how to become how to be social people, even though as human beings, I feel like that's one of our strongest and greatest traits. We're the only fucking species that we know of on this planet that can talk to one another. I mean, you know what I mean? Like using words, like birds talk to each other, but them niggas be, arr, arr. That's not even a bird sound, please. I was trying to do a chirp and then I don't know what the fuck came out. Listen, we're gonna let that shit go. My point is like, we use words. We have like language. Nah, they have languages too. What I'm trying to say is like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like we've been thinking. We are cognitive, sentient, intellectual beings who have evolved to a different state of consciousness than the other animals on our planet. And we use our intelligence for a variety of things, and we have done well in a lot, but I feel like have forgotten how to talk to one another and how to actually carry a conversation. And sometimes we kind of resort to just getting angry with people and resorting to conflict because that's how we want connection. We don't know how to be like, hey, I'd like to get your opinion on this. What do you think? Or, hey, I'd like to talk to you. Or, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Because that involves being vulnerable and it involves challenging the status quo, which is now become about getting angry and valuing superficial material objects instead of valuable human connection and emotion and real things that make humans feel like human beings. And so sometimes I feel like we might just, be like, let's start a fight, because starting a fight means communicating with other people. I think that's what people do sometimes, in their relationships too. When they don't know how to communicate something effectively to their partners, they'll start a fight about it, because it's like, at least starting a fight about it conveys some form of emotion, some form of expression. It means I'm upset with you, or I'm disappointed by you, or I'm hurt by you, or this is what I want from you. But instead of being able to say those words and communicate it, because that involves being vulnerable and saying how you really feel, we use anger to express other emotions, because expressing emotions has become uncomfortable. So we use the most uncomfortable emotion to express wanting to express our emotions. Does that make sense? Again, conflict isn't bad. It's not bad. Getting angry isn't bad. Being afraid of wanting to connect to other people isn't bad, We've all been through shit. Life has been hard, and sometimes even wanting to talk about that with other people is tough. Wanting to relate to other people, wanting to communicate to others. It's not an easy task by any means. And so it's okay sometimes if conflict leads you to building connection. That's how it works sometimes. But it doesn't have to be that way all the time. And if you feel like you're someone who has to get conflict to lead to connection, maybe you just want to reevaluate what that means for you, because it doesn't have to. In the same way that connection doesn't have to always equal conflict, I think it's important to want to acknowledge that you need things from other people, and that you want to be vulnerable with them, and you want to be open with them about how you really feel. And when the status quo revolves around being someone who's so put together that you don't ever get a chance to fall apart, or that you don't ever get to open up about things that you might have been closing off inside yourself, it becomes a little scary. It becomes a little hard to break free from that conformity and to kind of challenge that way of thinking, And that's what I was thinking about today as I was crying in the bathroom while I was trying to brush my teeth. So I just wanted to talk about that, and I feel like it was good too. I feel like it was good that I had that realization. Even talking through you guys and even talking to you guys has allowed me to come to more realizations and conclusions. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. And I just hope you guys got something out of it and that it made some sense to you all. So I wasn't expecting this to be 45 minutes. Last time I checked the clock, it was like 23 minutes. And then we kept talking and talking and had that brain churning, But it's good. It's good. It's good to talk and open up and be vulnerable. Yeah, anyway, that's all I want to talk about, guys. So thank you guys for watching this one. If you did, I appreciate it. I've been making a couple videos back to back. I have like 3 stored up in my bank right now that I really want to edit and put together and post sometime soon. So please stay tuned for that, and be patient with me because I'm trying. I made a video last week. I still have like over 40 minutes to edit. And I'm trying my best because one thing about video editing is I don't like doing it when I start feeling like lower in energy. Like when my mood is like, getting all switched up, because then I feel like I'll be harsher and more critical about my edits that way. And so, I'm being human. I'm doing my human thing, and I'm trying to like take my time and not push myself to overwork myself. But at the same time, I know I'd like to be more consistent with how long I take to edit videos and put them out, because I know that if they sit too long, then I'm probably not going to want to upload them at all. And I don't know, I feel like the last few have been been bangers, so been fucking bangers. So I want to be able to like put it on there and share it with you guys. But yeah, sorry, that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, it's outro time.
Hola, bonjour, je suis, c'est moi, idiosyncrasies. Sorry, bro, that's taking me out. I fucked up on the outro. I forgot the lines to my own outro. Can you believe that shit? So I have to do it again. Anyway, don't just feel blue. Don't just feel gray. Remember, there's a whole world of color out there to experience, and you are a star on every spectrum.
I am going to smoke a joint today, girl. Been 9 days since I had the last one. It's been like 9 days since I had a smoke, and I've been thinking about it for a while now, so fuck it, do whatever you want to do today, guys. Stay hydrated, love yourself. It's hard out there. Be kind to yourself, dog. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.